Think of treaties as making peace. For between hostile nations, there is only a state of war, even when they have made a treaty of peace. And we should never think of conquest as making peace. For when the conqueror puts down the enemy, all he has done is allow the subjugated to exist under his heel, waiting to rebel, and a state of war exists there as well. Now, the only real peace, the only positive peace that the world has ever seen has not been a peace between nations or between states, but a peace that exists within nations or states. It says there are two ways of settling disputed questions, one by discussion, the other by force. The first being characteristic of man, the second of brutes. We should have recourse to the latter only if the former fails. And John Locke again makes the same kind of point when he says there are two sorts of contests among men, the one managed by law, the other by force. And these are of such a nature that where the one ends, the other begins. Consists of men living together in such a way that they have means of resolving their difficulties, means of resolving their conflicts without the resort to force or violence. And to have such means, two things must be available to them. They must live under law, a law that is enforced equally and justly, and they must be able to settle their differences by conversation, by talking, instead of the importance of law and law enforcement and conversation. As the elements, the sinews of peace, you will see that the one indispensable condition for the existence of peace is government. For government in a society provides the reign of law, it provides the enforcement of law, and it provides the machinery for keeping the conversation going. Ambassador Jessup, in a recent book, said, when government provides the processes for correcting abuses by nonviolent means, or for settling differences by nonviolent means, then he says there is no need to exercise the right of revolution. In progress in peace, peace has been spread on the earth. But if this is true, it is also true that in the whole history of the past, all we have made is not peace, but pieces. And I write that word down so that you hear me say it in the plural, pieces, not peace. There have been as many pieces, local pieces, as there have been pieces. There have been a peace in this city or this state, this nation, wherever there has been a local unit of government, wherever there has been a political community living under government, there has been peace. And so pieces have existed on earth in the plural, local, citywide pieces or nationwide pieces. But nowhere on earth, not in the past and not in the present, has there been one single universal peace. That's the problem. That's the problem we face finally. Can we make one piece out of all these pieces? Can we make a world peace? A political axiom or self-evident truth. It is that if government is necessary for local peace, that is, if government in the United States is necessary for peace in the United States, the government of England for the peace of the people of England, the government of France for the peace of the people of France, if government is necessary for each of these local units of peace, then it would seem to follow without any doubt that world government is necessary for world peace. But the question remains, will we pay that price? That all depends, I'm afraid, on how much men want peace. Clemenceau, who was Prime Minister of France during the First World War, said, men say they want peace, but they do not want the things that make for peace. So far, in this century, men and nations do not seem to have been willing to pay the price for peace. But atomic warfare may change them. I think perhaps the most incisive remark that we made on the subject has been made by the great English historian and philosopher of history, Toynbee. He says, it is no longer a question of whether world peace is possible in our day, for we now must face the fact that world peace is inevitable in the near future. And the only question, the only practical question we face is how it is going to come, either by force and conquest and war on the one hand, or by law and consent on the other. That is our only choice.